Earlier today, Packers GM Brian Gudekunst spoke with different Packers reporters and he had a few different things to share, mainly regarding Jaire Alexander. And so I want to share this here from Ryan Wood on Twitter. And he says this: Brian Gutekunst is not closing the door on Jaire Alexander playing for Packers in 2025, but says it's a situation team is working through. He says it would be nice for a decision on Alexander to be resolved by draft, but not necessary. Plenty of time. And here's one of the direct quotes. He says, I think we're still working through that. Talking about Jaire. Obviously a very, very good player for us, and we have some time here to kind of figure that out and see what's best for him and for the organization. And here's the thing with this. He was asked directly, is there a possibility he plays for you in 2025? And considering Jaire is still on the roster, the Packers have not traded him, even though it looks like they have approached teams about potentially trading him in the past month or so. But when he's still on the roster and he's asked something as direct as that, I don't expect him to say, yeah, you know what, we're planning on shipping him out. He's still on the roster, though. You know, we're just sort of waiting for things to get done. He's probably not going to say something like that until it actually happens. So that's why he said it could be a possibility. Absolutely. Again, I think we're in the middle of that right now. So I don't think anything's really necessarily changed. Hearing this response, I feel like he would have answered it this way anytime in the past month. And just to bring up some of what has been shared recently from different reporters, on February 26th from Tom Silverstein of PackersNews.com said here, a source familiar with the talks Tuesday between the Packers and Alexander's agent, John Thornton, said the Packers didn't rule out a return but gave the impression they're moving on. The Packers didn't bother to ask for a pay cut because they know Alexander wouldn't accept it. So that was at the end of February. Of course, it's about to be April, so that was a while ago. Things always can change. You never know what could happen, but that's how things stood then. I feel like it's the same now. And this also was more recent from Rob Demovsky on March 17th, where he said on ESPN, while Alexander remains on the roster, the Packers are still trying to trade him, according to team sources and a source close to the player. They could wait indefinitely, but most likely would prefer to get something done before next month's draft. One source said the team has not approached Alexander about taking a pay cut, and that even if it did, he would not be willing to do so. Without a trading partner, the Packers would likely release him, but there is no urgency to do so because he has no guaranteed money left on his deal until the start of the regular season, when he's due $17.5 million. So that was about 2 weeks ago, and so it seems like nothing has really changed from that point. And Rob Demovsky does bring up a good point, that because he has no more guaranteed money left on his deal, the Packers really have no reason to do something immediately. It seems like the draft would be that next point where there could be some kind of deadline where, the Packers would probably, if they were going to trade him, want to trade him before the draft, so they get that pick. And so it could be that we see something happen more likely close to the draft. I would assume that would be the case. And so while it seems like there is technically a possibility he stays around, just from what we've seen so far in some of these different reports, I would just doubt that he comes back. They brought in Nate Hobbs. I do think the only way he would come back is if he does agree to somewhat of a cheaper deal, but it looks like at least a month ago from Tom Silverstein that the Packers didn't even approach him because they didn't think he would accept it. So it still feels to me like this is something where in the end, Jaire is going to end up elsewhere, whether someone trades for him or the Packers just end up releasing him. Now, if at the end of I guess it's technically possible that maybe Jaire could say, you know what, maybe he realizes what his value is out there from other teams potentially, and maybe he would say, I'll come back to Green Bay on a cheaper deal. Would the Packers want that? Maybe, because I still think when Jaire's healthy, he's a really good cornerback, and there's no doubt the Packers will be better with him if he's healthy. It's just his, cap hit is so massive, and the Packers do save a good amount of money, by releasing him, whether before June 1st or after June 1st. So it doesn't feel to me like much has changed, even though Gudekunst is saying that it could be a possibility he returns. It technically could. I doubt it happens. But if they were able to come to an agreement, which, things can change quickly in negotiations. We haven't heard that they have negotiated, and the Packers haven't seemingly approached him from what we've seen so far because they don't even think he'll take a pay cut. So it's not looking like Jaire will be back, which is sort of unfortunate because it was fun having Jaire in Green Bay. And if he ends up signing elsewhere and stays healthy all season, that would be unfortunate just because I still think he has a lot left in the tank. And then one other update from this Brian Gutekunst press conference here from Wes Hodquist, who says Elton Jenkins is going to center per Brian Gutekunst. Packers believe he can be an all-pro there. So with Banks coming in from the 49ers, he's moving to guard, or he's going to be guard, left guard, likely, and then Elton Jenkins going to center. So there's still some other things to iron out among the offensive line. When it comes to last year's first rounder, Jordan Morgan, are they going to put him at right guard? Maybe compete with Rasheed Walker at left tackle? Because I think Sean Ryan was pretty solid at right guard. There's a lot of things that could happen here when it comes to this Packers offensive line. And those are all the updates from what I've heard him say so far. There could be more that come out later, so I'll try to keep an eye on that. I just wanted to share those updates. If you guys want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.